All right, guys, welcome back. Welcome back to the channel. Today's going to be a little bit more of an informal episode. I'm going to try to do this a little bit in just one take and kind of just blabber on than what we do in normal videos. But I'm just going to come out and say it. Today was a crazy day, an absolutely crazy day. I'm just sitting here. I'm wearing the same shirt that I wear in every single video, which you guys are probably tired of right now. I got some Pop-Tarts. Pop-Tarts, cinnamon roll Pop-Tarts right there, by the way. If you know, you know that I may or may not be eating during this take, which is actually, now that I think about it, a really bad idea. But basically, I'm just chilling. I'm just chilling here. I was chilling for most of the day. I was going through classes. I was doing my thing normally. And then this all of a sudden comes up out of nowhere. Micah Parsons has been traded to the Green Bay Packers for Kenny Clark and 2 first-round picks. Wow. I mean, where do we begin? First of all, can I just say that this was completely unexpected for so many different reasons. First of all, I didn't believe that Micah Parsons was really going to be traded, at least this soon. I felt that, the realistic outcome of this was going to be he was going to play during the first couple weeks of the season. If things weren't really working out still, he was ended up going to be traded before the trade deadline. I thought that's how this was going to go. And he ends up getting traded right now just a week before the season starts. I mean, rosters are set, and there's still blockbusters trades going around, which is why we absolutely love sports and love the NFL. But the other reason why I feel like this was so unexpected was the team that traded for him, the Green Bay Packers. I mean, I did not expect this team at all out of everyone to be going after Micah. I mean, I had been, reading articles throughout the week and throughout the past month since he's requested a trade. And I've seen so many different teams. I've seen the Denver Broncos. I've seen the Pittsburgh Steelers. I saw, teams like San Francisco possibly. I even saw the Washington Commanders, which obviously was very unrealistic seeing as they're a division rival. New England Patriots were a big one that I saw a lot of people jawing about that he could potentially go for. But the Green Bay Packers, and not only the Green Bay Packers, but the Green Bay Packers, and they got an absolute steal in my opinion. I mean, we'll get to the value a little bit later and deep dive into that, but they got an absolute steal in my opinion. Kenny Clark and 2 first-round picks. That's it. You basically swap Micah Parsons and Kenny Clark, and then you just give up 2 first-round picks. It's basically 2 first-round picks for Micah Parsons, the dude who has been labeled as a generational type talent, the man who is probably the most versatile guy in the league, who can play outside linebacker, outside edge rusher, on the interior edge rush, inside linebacker. The man, heck, I know that he's pretty hefty, but the man could probably play safety in the box if he really wanted to. I mean, the dude can play everywhere. He's a big-time impact guy. And I mean, again, this is 5-6 hours later, and I'm still stunned. I'm still really, really stunned, especially because, like I said, this really did come out of nowhere. I mean, hours before Schefter had announced this move, he was saying that teams had reached out to Dallas, and Dallas was finally beginning to, really listen to trade talks, and really take these things seriously and really consider, they weren't going to go out and sell them off if they weren't given a farm. But they're really starting to consider these talks with other teams. And then just 2 hours later, bang, it happens. So, I mean, it's just insane. So now let's get into the why, or and more specifically, the value that we're getting here. Let me take a quick Pop-Tart bite. A little Pop-Tart bite. Leave your hate comments down below in the comments. But let's talk about the value that happened here, and why, in my opinion, the big focus of this video is going to be why the Cowboys got absolutely fleeced, and why Jerry Jones really is the one that looks the worst out of all of this, right? Kenny Clark and 2 first-round picks. Now, that's not to say that I'm crapping on Kenny Clark. How old is this guy, by the way? I don't know my ages very well. You guys can flame me in the comments. Age 29. So, and in his prime interior tackle and 2 first rounders. when I first heard the deal, I thought, that's not awful, but it's definitely not the best that you could have gotten. But thinking about it more and more, I can't understand it, man. 2 first-round picks for a generational type talent, for an interior defensive lineman, no less, who, you know, will he will bolster the line. Let's take a look at this Cowboys defense. He will do a really, really great job at bolstering the trenches, which is a spot that Dallas has been struggling with in years past when it comes to the depth of that position. So he plugs in right there, right beside Osa Oduazua. I apologize if I mispronounced that. And of course, he will also be opposite of Dante Fowler Jr. as well. So you're building a little bit of a defensive line there. You get a solid, guy within the trenches, and you get some picks. But the interesting thing about the picks part is that Jerry Jones has spoken saying this is the move that is going to make his team better. And what he meant is that he's hoping that he can package these 2 first-rounders and potentially go out and trade for other Pro Bowl level players. As you can see, I mean, the linebacker core for this team now with Micah out of the lineup is very, very weak, to say the least, that linebacking core. But the question that I have is, who are you going to trade 2 first-rounders with to potentially go out and make this team better? I mean, who is in serious contention here? We're a week away from the season. Week and a half, 2 weeks, however you want to say it. Lineups are set. I mean, this was a guy who was a holdout and who was a megastar. But we're 2 weeks out. Lineups are set. I don't know if anybody's really going to be willing to have a big-time trade right now. Maybe you could work out something at the deadline, obviously, but if your defense is really struggling and you're 2-6, 3-5 by the time that the deadline comes around, is that really going to bolster you into a playoff spot? I mean, I don't know. And the biggest question is who do you go out and get, and what needs do you really need to fill on this lineup? I mean, I look at this immediately, and I think that, I think that running back is a big time hole immediately that they need to look to fill. So, I mean, just thinking off the top of my head, I mean, if CMC suffers another injury early on in the season and is able to come back, or if he's not having as great of a season with San Fran, is that a trade that you potentially make for maybe like a Christian McCaffrey? Do you Derrick Henry because he's older? I mean, is the value even there for 2 first-round picks? Do you go after maybe there's a Breece Hall available in the future with, the Jets, if they continue to lag behind and their running game is suffering because the pass game is not popping enough? What about offensive line? But do you really want to spend the 2 first-round picks that you got for a generational talent on just an offensive lineman? How about the linebacking core? But again, who are you really going to trade off? Do you go for a TJ Watt, for example? And I'm just throwing shit out there. And I wouldn't even say that some of these guys are even worth 2 first-round picks. They're worth way more than that. But do you go out and get like a TJ Watt? Do you get somebody to maybe bolster within the secondary because Trayvon Diggs has had injury issues, because your rookie and Shavon Revel is injured as well and is going to be out to start the season? I mean, what direction do you go into with these 2 first-round picks? And, of course, it's going to take time, and it's going to take time for the season to be able to develop and for players to really put on performance and for you to really see who is immediately available. But sitting on them right now, when you could have had Micah Parsons, as long as you're sitting on them, the Parsons deal is basically Parsons for Clark. That's a bad deal. I'm sorry. As great as Kenny Clark is, and he's still 29 years old, and he has some solid years left, but last year I think he dealt with injury, did he not? No, he was fully healthy. But I mean, if you look at his numbers, 1 sack last year, 7.5 the previous year, but then 4, 2, 6. He's been a solid interior tackle, but he's been really inconsistent. He slowed down a lot last year. That was a big-time slowdown from him last year. What I'm saying is that even the player that you got in the deal is never going to even be close to be able to fill the spot that Micah Parsons filled. Not even the versatility, not the athleticism that he brought to the table. Not even the leadership that Micah Parsons brought to this team. And again, we talked about this last episode, and it's funny how, I kind of jumped on the Micah Parsons news a little bit late, and then Parsons ends up being traded. It's the funniest thing in the world, but how this whole thing is an ego game for Jerry Jones. And I think that this was the same thing. This deal was him showing the team, if you're not happy here, I'm going to get rid of you. If you don't want to play my games, I'm going to get rid of you. This is my team. I don't care how you want me to run it. I don't care what you think is a good move. It is my deals, how I want it to be. I want to negotiate with players one-on-one. I want to limit the communication with the agent as much as I can, and I want to try to get these players on the best deal that I want. And if they don't like it, I'm going to give them away. And it doesn't matter who I get from that deal, because ultimately fans are going to be coming out to support anyways. I'm sure that Cowboys fans right now are absolutely crushed, but they're going to still come out and support the team, and the Cowboys are probably still going to continue to make a shitload of money. But it really isn't a good look. As much as Jerry Jones is going to prod around and act like the tough guy and think that he's doing the best thing for the team and the best thing for himself, it really makes you look like a diva. And it really makes you look like you did not want to even talk about the Micah situation. You didn't even want to bring any type of attention to that. You wanted to zip his lips and ship him off. That's it. And ultimately, he might see that as a superior, strong move, but to the eyes of the mainstream media, it makes him look like a coward. That's all I'm going to say. And unfortunately, this Cowboys team, without that versatility, Clark could be fine, but without that depth at the linebacker spot, without the ability to be able to move your players around in 5 different positions, without having Dan Quinn now still not the defensive coordinator anymore, Mike Zimmer still being on, with Brian Schottenheimer not being a defensively oriented coach, this defense is going to suffer. And it likely will probably be worse than it was last year, even when Micah missed 4 games. Now let's not look at any more negative talk. Let's move to Green Bay. Because, again, I think that this was a hell of a move for them. Again, a very surprising move, but a hell of a move. I look at this defense now, and it's scary, especially that front seven. That front seven is disgusting. Putting Micah Parsons next to Quay Walker, Rashawn Gary, Devontae White in the interior, that linebacking core between Parsons, Walker, Edgerrin Cooper, and Isaiah McDuffie is fire, is flames, bro, and is going to do some real great work. Yes, you still have some things to work out within the secondary. Xavier McKinney is probably your best guy to go to there. But your front seven's now built. You have solid attack with guys like Jaden Reed. You have Matthew Golden to put in some speed. Guys like Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson have shown themselves to be great when they are not the number 1 overall wide receiver on the squad. Josh Jacobs, after a very slow start last year, was able to get things rolling. Jordan Love is starting to, I think, become a more complete player as they go on. He still has some kinks to work out, a couple of wrinkles to work out, but he still continues to improve. So you have solid offensive attack. Maybe you want to improve the offensive line a little bit more, but other than that, great offensive attack, great front seven. I don't know how much more you can really ask for with this team. And again, with Micah, he can go everywhere. He can sub in at linebacker for McDuffie if he gets tired. If they're not liking the attack that they're getting into the interior, he has the strength possibilities to play into the interior defensive line. He's going to play opposite next to Rashawn Gary. He is just going to wreak havoc all over this team. And, even with, little depth guys like a Lucas Van Ness and whatnot, that's going to be great, especially coming off of the injury, because it's going to allow you some insurance. And again, you just didn't really give up that much of value, so it's great. And, I talked about this a little bit in the TikTok clip that I posted, but this comes at the perfect time for Green Bay. They're kind of shoving the chips into the middle with this trade. And I love it because the NFC North, while I think that this is probably one of, if not the most talented and most dangerous division in the league, this is as vulnerable as this division is going to get over the next 2 to 3 years. because you have Minnesota still trying to work out their quarterback situation because J.J. McCarthy, this is his rookie year basically, and he looked solid in some parts in the preseason, other parts he struggled. You have quarterback problems within Minnesota. Chicago, there seems to be not as great of a connection as we originally thought between Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson. This is Ben Johnson's rookie year as a head coach, and there are other new players within this offense, like rookie Colston Loveston and whatnot, that it's going to take time for this team to be able to get used to each other and get used to Ben Johnson's scheme. And they're still really, really young and inexperienced in some areas. And then you have Detroit, who, as talented as they are, their best pass rusher is coming off of a very, very bad broken leg injury. And both of their top coordinators are gone. So they're going to possibly have to work out a new type of offense as well. And guys like Goff are going to have to work out the play calling and whatnot. That has to be all worked over as well. And so Green Bay is looking at this and they're saying, dude, now or never. This is the year with so many of the interior issues that is happening on all the other three squads, as talented as they are. This could be a chance that we could actually make a push and potentially win this division and go to the playoffs and get ourselves in a solid spot to make a deep run. And I think that they can. I mean, if they are really able to control the division this year and come in first, I look around the league. I mean, Washington, I like, but I don't know if they did enough on the defensive line to really push themselves over the edge. And, we'll have to see how Jaden Daniels performs in the second year. And they did just trade away a big-time running piece with Brian Robinson Jr., and they're counting on a star in Deebo Samuel as their number one wide receiver to be as productive as he was 3 or 4 years ago for San Francisco while coming off of an injury. So there's questions in Washington. Philly's great. South doesn't really have anything to offer. I think that the Bucs are a wild card team. I think that they could potentially have an upset game. I don't see them as legitimate contenders within the NFC right now. And then in the West, San Francisco, who needs to stay healthy. LA Rams, who has amazing offensive weapons and one of the best offensive minds in football, but Stafford, injury questions there. Back is holding them up a little bit. I mean, really, those are the main players within the NFC. The NFC is much, much weaker than the AFC is, which is why we saw a lower Commanders team make it to the NFC Championship game last year, and the Eagles realistically controlled that entire conference overall. So if you can push back through the best division in your conference, everyone else is going to be a cakewalk. So, I mean, overall, you switch Clark for Micah, you give up 2 first-rounders, you have a real shot to win the division, you're pushing your chips in. Obviously, it's going to come down to the offensive production, but I think that they did really well here. And the Cowboys now, they're stuck in a spot where you're just wondering what direction they're going. And that's the question for Jerry Jones. And the answer from Jerry Jones is going to be his direction, wherever that damn leads them. And it's going to lead them down the path to where he believes that he looks the best, even when he's making himself look like an idiot. So, another fractured relationship in Dallas. I wish both Micah and Kenny Clark the best in both of their respective new homes. That's all that I have for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think down below about this deal. Let me know what you guys think about this video format. Kind of a little bit more informal. Really just one take straight through. I'm not going to have to do a lot of editing, which is a big time relief for me. But I kind of like this. More of like a conversation going through it. And let me know about that all down below. Make sure that you're also subscribing, leaving a like, sharing with your friends. If you haven't already, go ahead and follow us on all social medias, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. All of those ads are going to be down below so that you will never miss for whenever a new video pops up, and you will always get to see my latest reaction to breaking news like there was today within the NFL, NBA, and combat sports. And without further ado, guys, that's all that I have for you guys today, I believe. I hope that you guys have a great rest of your night as the time of recording this, and also a great start to your weekend. And, that's all I got. and peace.